Hi, everybody. Great to be back again. This is Ben Chai, the Doctor Who of business, with another Tuesday property broadcast. And in this broadcast, I will be sharing a little bit about the 6-month rule in property, which is a totally insane rule. I don't know where it's come from, but it's caused a lot of people to lose a lot of money. So I'll be sharing a little bit about this rule and why it's causing people so many problems. Yay! But before I start again, as I start with most of my broadcasts, thank you so much to the Yes Group members who came and give mini talks at the last meeting. So to Louis Sevid, who shared about the importance of patience and persistence. Now, Louis is an extremely take action kind of guy who was taking action for 2 years with 0 results. And then suddenly, a bit like buses, a lot of deals and finance came his way to help him complete the deals. So thank you for him for sharing his little talk there. Thank you to Devinder Segura. Now, if you don't know who Devinder is, again, what an amazing lady in property. Find out a little bit about her. She has acquired several HMOs to build her portfolio, and was sharing a little bit about social media and how she's raised money through social media, as well as how she made money by taking 2-bedroom terraced houses and converting them into 5 bedrooms. So that was fantastic. Nelson, do you know Nelson? If you hear this broadcast, I'm terribly sorry, man. I can never remember how to say your surname. So Nelson Salvatorelli, I think, I'll just say Nelson, was sharing about the importance of getting the right tenants and how he had to eventually evict a tenant, a student tenant, which was the best thing he ever did, just gave them their money back, which, you know, I totally agree with, rather than having tons of headaches and people giving you headachy phone calls all the time. So really fantastic sharing from him. Lulu Bell, I love Lulu Bell, and I hope she is watching this at some stage, but Lulu Bell was also sharing her journey and the importance of using the strategy that works well for you. She loves investing in Liverpool with her buy-to-lets, and she's saying, yes, I can make more money if I buy houses with multiple people being able to live in them, but it's a big headache for her, and so she would rather get money. She doesn't have to deal with, if you like, people who break up the house or the room. I have to deal with this in my student HMOs, but she doesn't have the hassle. So she just has a tenant. They love the house and they're going to look after it and happily ever after live there for as long as she wants. So that was a great lesson for people. It's sometimes not just about the money, but about reducing the amount of stress and hassle you have in your property business. And finally, Adam Garland. Yes, Adam Garland. And he was sharing about how he was using some of the lessons from our Yes Property group. A guy called Danny Inman, who set it up, actually came and gave the talk. And and as a result, Adam started broadcasting consistently about his property, got an interview with one of the top property podcast guys, and ended up getting actually customers as a result. So that was a fantastic lesson. And then finally, Sarah Dixon, who took a little break to help with some of her clinical clients, but she was investing in property before, and she was sharing the importance, because she's always reading property magazines, of regularly keeping yourself up to date with what was going on. So she had some properties before, took a couple of years break, and then has come back to it, but she always kept up to date. And so that was very fantastic. She was also sharing that the importance of, if this is your first time in property, to start small. And I totally agree with this, because she was sharing that how if you start with a very big project and you've got no knowledge of property, then you can also lose a lot of big money by getting it wrong, which is actually what happened to a very good friend of mine. I brought him along to a property event, and they said, "Oh, this is great." Now, these are big business people. They bought 6 HMOs, knocked them all down to build this student complex, and they were literally bleeding money. And actually, long story short, I now have 5% of that project for just the advice I helped them to save their money. But yes, absolutely, great advice from all our Yes members, who I really want them to start maybe sharing and a lot more at the events. Okay, so today I just want to share a little bit about the 6-month rule. I really don't know where this rule came from, but it's a crazy rule. And the rule goes, look, if you buy a property, you can refurbish it and get all your money out in 6 months. Do you know how many times I was quoted that in the last year, and how many people have lost money as a result of that? So that's what the 6-month rule says. And yes, the people who've quoted it probably have been on stage and saying, I did this and I got 50 or 100,000 pounds out of the property in 6 months. Well, those occasions are very rare that they do actually happen. So unless you're buying everything in cash yourself, and you are a builder, or you've got your joint venture partner is a builder, this is the only times that you can get your money in and out straight away. Or you're a property developer and you can build a house and sell it in 3 or 4, 5 months. But most property investors, I'm going to tell you things. Like, for example, some of you know the big drama I had in one of the areas where the builder was just, he's an idiot. That's all I can say. He's an idiot. Cost me a lot of money. Took 2 years to do something which should have taken 4 months. We actually have done it with another builder, 4 months straight away. So you just don't know who you're dealing with unless you're dealing with them for a long time. So it's only just recently that we've been able to get our money out of that project, which we bought in cash. Yes. So that could go wrong. The other thing I've recently found is someone who's bought a property using bridging finance. We love bridging. Bridging is great. Bridging is great when you know all the variables. And they thought, yes, we can get our money out. In fact, they were quoted by the builder 8 months. So they said to the bridging company 8 months, and they did all their calculations. It is 1.5 years, and they still haven't finished the project. They are bleeding money with bridging finance at 14%. Yes, so anything that they thought they made, they've lost already in terms of buying and selling. Hopefully they'll make some money renting it out. It's not only builders, because in the UK we can rant about builders until we're blue in the face, but also some of the lenders. I don't know what's going on with their lenders, especially if you are buying in a company. Yeah, it's slightly different. So with my personal portfolio, I've bought properties and got the lending very quickly, so I've been able to pay back my angel investors very quickly. But in companies, like, I don't know what's going on in the solicitors' heads. I really don't. So when you buy in a company, which actually is a great strategy from my perspective, because there's lots of benefits from buying in companies, you do pay slightly more for the privilege, a couple of % more in interest, but there's a lot you can do with that. For example, in the UK, we will no longer be able to get the mortgage interest off of the rental income that we get, whereas in a company, you will be able to do that. So that's a massive benefit. However, Oh my goodness, this is like the fourth or fifth time I'm going through a refinance. And the solicitors in the corporate world, they just take so long. You know, to I went to the solicitor representing myself on behalf of the lender. So it was I'm trying, because I was told this would be much faster than my normal fantastic super solicitor. Right, so there we go. We've applied, got the offer. Lender says, fine, we're going to give you the money, Ben. We love it. All right, that's great. But if you wanted to go faster, please use this solicitor who helps us out. Okay, yeah, no, that's great. I'll do that instead of my normal, fast, wonderful, super amazing solicitors. Great. Well, you see, here's the funny thing. 1 month later, I haven't heard anything. Actually, it was about 3 weeks. So I write to the solicitor. Oh, we're just getting around to it. We haven't actually seen what was happening. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Well, you know, maybe that's just a small thing. So I go in, I sign the documents, and I say to them, is there anything else? No, everything's fine. Okay, good. 1 week later, I email them again. And I said, what's going on? Haven't heard from you. Oh, we need these documents. Okay, I'll send you these documents. So I send them the documents. Then they say one was corrupt. I say to the solicitor, you do realize you can get this online for free. This is an EPC, an Energy Performance Certificate. Oh, okay, right. So they send the documents off. I said, by the way, I always end my conversations with them, is there anything else? Because I have all the documents. Then they come back and they say, well, actually, we need 4 more documents. We need this, this, and this. Okay. So I have to phone up the council. I phone the letting agent, and then I send them the documents. Great. Again, nothing. Then I call them up again. Oh yeah, no, we're dealing with that. We need this. And by this time, I'm getting really angry. I'm thinking, does this solicitor know what they're doing or not? And just the other day, I read an email that I got from them, and it's really stupid. They obviously have no clue about what student letting involves, because they're talking about Article 21 and stuff, or just how to evict people. I'm saying you do realize that these students aren't going to be long in the house for very long. We have a 10 to 12 month contract for them to rent the place, an AST. And if you look at the length of time it takes to evict a normal tenant, on average, it's about 7 to 8 months. I know people who've been involved in a 15-month in eviction process. So by the time I get around to eviction anyway, the student will be gone. Right. But my solicitors are saying, but it's a huge risk. I'm thinking, you have never rented let a house out before. Anyway, so this has now been going on for 2.5 months. It's not the first time. In fact, I nearly lost a great deal because my angel investor, great that they're a fantastic friend of mine, actually a relative, was able to hang on a little longer, because the solicitors just took, I think they took 6 months to sort it out, which it shouldn't have happened. It really shouldn't have. Anyway, that's why you cannot ever rely on a builder, a solicitor telling you it's going to take this much time. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, then, and you've got angel investment or bridging finance, then you're going to end up in trouble. So how do I do it? Well, when we use angel investment, we normally give ourselves an extra 3 to 6 months. So if a builder has said they're going to complete within 6 months or 7 months, we'll add on an extra 3 or 6 months onto the amount of time that we want to borrow the money for. We also have in our clause that if we are able to, we will try and pay back the money faster, if that's okay with them. And that way we don't need to pay the extra interest. So if it did happen in the unlikely event that I can buy and sell or refinance within 6 months, that is fine. Even though I've got a contract for 12 months, they know that it will have matured earlier. All right, guys. So please, 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 whatever you don't, go and once you've got this information from Avilda, and go to your angel investor and say, oh, it's going to be 6 months or 7 months. Do not work on those timescales. Give yourself some risk. Yes, some risk to borrow the money for an extra length of time. All right, guys. So that's my little property rant for the week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please, please, as I say, think about how long extra it's going to take with your managing your projects and refinancing, because the last thing you want to do is lose a fantastic angel investor because you didn't know your timing. And honestly, if you've got a liquidity timing problem, your angel investors are going to think that you don't know what you're doing, and it's going to be harder for them to lend to you again. If you've enjoyed this property broadcast, please do share it with your friends. Please do comment below anything you might want to ask about risk in property. And again, thank you everyone for joining in, to Hard, to Gunel, Eva, Layla, Adam, love you, Adam, Paul, Gomel, Maitland, Amarinda, Kasha, hi Kasha, and Kim. Thank you all for joining in this podcast. As again, please do share it with other people if you feel it will be of benefit. Bye for now.